Welcome to my top 10 game-changing tips in Excel. If you have to insert a blank row between each record like this, there's another way to do it where you can do it in one go. So select the second record from your dataset and then hold the Ctrl key and select the next record. Keep holding the Ctrl key and keep selecting the next record. Once you're done selecting all your records, right click on any of the row like that, and from the context menu click on insert, and there you go, you have a blank row in each record. If you have a stacked data set like this where the fruit name and the pricing is on the same column, this is how you unstack them. First, select the complete column of data set and press Ctrl C to copy it on a clipboard. Then what you do is you go to the next column, the very first cell, and you press Ctrl V to paste it. At this point, both column A and column B should look exactly the same. Next, you're going to have to delete the very first cell on this column here by pressing Ctrl minus and then select Shift cell up. Once you do that, click OK, and now you can see that column A and column B is offset by 1, just like that. So next thing you're going to have to do, select the header, go to the data tab here, and then click on filter. And then on the fruit itself, the very first column, it could be the second one. I'm going to choose the very first column, click on this pull down menu, and then select sort Z to A. So the next thing you have to do is to go ahead and remove all the unwanted rows. Right click on the row and then delete it. This is how you unstack two columns of data which is originally was in one. Let me show you how you can do it in multiple columns. Right now I've got a stacked data set on column A with name, gender is supposed to be here, age is supposed to be here, height here, and the weight. Same steps, select the data set or the stacked data set all the way down, Ctrl C, and then replicate the same set of data set on column B, C, D, and E. Now they should look exactly the same now at this point. So once that's done, go to the second column, you select the very first cell and you press Ctrl minus, Shift cell up, and you go to the third column. Now this time around you'll be selecting two cells like that. Then you press Ctrl minus, Shift cell up, and the fourth column you'll be selecting first three cells like that. Ctrl minus again, Shift cell up, okay, and the fifth column you'll be selecting 4 cells like this, 1 2 3 4. Ctrl minus, Shift cell up like that. Now the data might look a bit jumble up right now, but everything will come in par right now shortly here. So now next thing you're gonna have to do the same thing as what you did just now. Select the header, make sure you're selected in data, filter. I'm gonna use the first column to sort it by largest to smallest, and only thing you have to do now is to keep the name, and anything that does not look or belong to this column here, you remove them. Like for example, this is a gender, select all the gender, right click, delete. Again, another gender here, right click, delete. The idea is to keep the names, only the names in this column here, and that's what we want. And all the others will probably be numbers. Select everything, right click, and delete. And now you can see that your stacked data is unstacked. Spell check is an integral part of your data cleanup. To access spell check, there's 3 ways to do it. The first way is to use the hotkey F7. First of all, you want to select any cell on your workbook, say this one here, and that's where it starts from, row 8 or cell 8, and you press F7, and you go through the process of accepting the changes by clicking on change and change. I'm going to go and accept all the change, and once you reach the bottom of your data set, it will tell you, do you want to continue checking from the beginning, because we started from row 10. So you click yes and you'll go from the beginning, and I'm going to hit change. You can also do spell check on areas, like for example, if you want to only do a spell check from row 3 to row 11 and press F7, it will only do spell check on the highlighted area. Can I accept all the changes? There you go. So that's one way to access the spell check tool in Excel. The second way to access a spell check tool would be to use the toolbar here. If you click this down arrow here, click on spelling, an ABC icon will appear here with a check mark. Click on it and it'll give you the same set of tool or pop-up window. The final way to access spell check tool would be to use your quick access toolbar. Click on review and click on spelling icon here. Excel has an excellent tool called merge, where you select a series of cells like this and you merge it. It makes the dataset looks very professional and very intuitive. But if you try to merge your actual dataset itself, filtering and sorting and copying and pasting of cells can be a bit of a problem. Let me demonstrate what I mean by that. Let's say in row 7, you want to select all this row and you're going to merge it. This says that they're only going to keep the very first cell and erase the rest of them. So now this is one big cell. So now if I were to go ahead and select, say, this column here and do sort and filter and sort largest to smallest, it tells you that you can't do sorting when your data set has a merge cell. You can't even do copy pasting. You select this cell here, Ctrl C to copy and Ctrl V to paste. Mainly because that the cell sizes are different. That's another way to get around this madness here. I'm going to undo this guy here. And at the same time, you can actually keep the same look and feel of a merge cell. Let me show you how this is done. So now we're back to square one. Select the row that you want to work on. Press Ctrl 1. And then make sure you are in Align tab. On the horizontal, you're going to be selecting Center Across. And click on OK. Once that's done, start deleting the cells, not the first one, the cells on the right, to make it look exactly like a merge cell. Now, cosmetically, it looks exactly like a merge cell as this one here, but the difference is that this is one big cell, but this one, they still have cells in between. If you go to column 7 and you go filter, sort largest to smallest, you can still do sorting. You can also do copy and paste. You copy this series of cells and you paste it. If you have to calculate the running total for this bank transaction, this is how you do it. First, select the whole transaction here, and then you press Ctrl Q to bring up this menu here. In this menu, you'll be clicking on totals, and then you'll be clicking on not this running total, because you can see this running total will actually give you a total at the bottom, but you want to scroll on the right here and you'll be going for this running total, which gives you a running total on the right hand side. This method of calculating the running total is resilient against, let's say for example, if you were to delete this particular row, you can see the running total is automatically calculated. And at the same time, if you were to insert a few more rows in between and anywhere like that, you can see that the running total is calculated as well accordingly. If you want to add a pop-up picture like this on your dataset, this is how you do it. Right click on the cell that you want to add a pop-up to and select Insert Comment. Get rid of any text that's in there. And you want to right click just outside the border of this pop-up. And then you're going to select Format Comment. You'll be selecting Colors and Lines tab and do a pull down on colors. Select Fill Effects. Then you select Picture tab. Select Picture. I'll be selecting from my local drive here. Select the picture that you want and click Insert on the bottom right hand corner of that window. I'm going to lock my aspect ratio on my picture and click OK and one more OK. And then you just adjust the size of your pop-up and there you have it. That's how you add pictures to your dataset. You can create a fully operational Gantt chart in just 5 clicks. The first click will be to launch your Excel. Second, New. Third, click on the search bar and you type the word Gantt and hit enter. Then it'll give you a series of template Gantt chart you can choose. I'm gonna choose simple Gantt chart, and the final click will be to click on create. Once that's done, here you go, this is your Gantt chart. Then you assign people, and then end date say is 4, and then is 90% complete. Have you ever wondered how you can create this diagonal dividing header? Let me show you how this is done. First, select the dividing header that you want to divide. Press Ctrl 1, and then make sure you are on the border tab and click on this button here to create this divider. Once that's done, click on OK. That will draw you a diagonal line. Next, enter a couple of spaces here to give some space and type the title header for your row header. Mine's gonna be month. To go to the next line, press alternate enter twice, and the column header name, which is gonna be names for me. And if you want to change the font size of this header, double click the text and you can change it to whatever size you want. Likewise, on the column name, I'm going to change this to 8 as well. If your raw dataset is vertically aligned this way, this is how you divvy up in such a way that the dataset is being displayed in a nice tabular format. Note that I have 5 fields in my dataset. Name, which is coinciding to this guy here. Sex is here. Age is the next field. Height and weight, and it starts with name again. So this is how you use the wrap row formula. Equal wrap rows is a plural with a S. Open parenthesis, then you highlight all the raw data set, and like I said, I have 5 fields: name, sex, age, height, and weight. That's why I'm going to put 5 here, and then it will organize it nicely for you from the raw to the nicely tabular format. What if your data set is in a horizontal format this way? Same organization: name, sex, age, height, and weight. And then name starts again. Again, you use the same formula, equal wrap rows with a S, open parenthesis, highlight the whole raw data set, and you're gonna put comma 5 here because I have 5 fields, and hit enter, and you organize it nicely for you. There's another thing you can do with wrap row is that you can actually flip this from horizontal to vertical. Use the formula equal wrap rows, open parenthesis, and you highlight your raw data set, and instead of saying 5 here, which we did previously, you say 1 like that, and you hit enter. You can see that the data set has been flipped from horizontal to vertical. What if your table is not horizontally aligned and instead is organized this way? So you're gonna have to use a separate formula called wrap column. So equal wrap column with a S, open parenthesis, do the same thing, highlight all the raw data set, and I know I have 5 fields: name, sex, age, height, and weight, comma 5, close parenthesis, and then the output will be a nicely organized horizontal table. And what if you have a raw data set that's horizontal? Previously we dealt vertical, horizontal. Wrap column with a S, open parenthesis, highlight the raw data set, and then over here you're going to put comma 5 to indicate 5 fields and close parenthesis, and hit enter. The last demonstration I want to give you about wrap column and wrap row is error handling. I'm going to use a date, or rather a month here. There are 12 months here, and let's say if you were to use a formula equal to wrap rows, open parenthesis, you want to organize it in a nice 5-column table. Do this. You'll notice that towards the end you have a couple of NA because there's 5 columns we're organizing this way, and there's only 12 months and they're expecting 15 sets of data in it. So how do you deal with this rather than seeing this ugly NA? What you do is you go back to your original cell where you did the wrap row, and in here, as part of the last argument here, you can put whatever you want. Let's say if you don't want to see this unsightly pound NA, you're going to put double quote with nothing in it, and you'll get rid of it. And for some reason, if you want to show something rather than nothing, maybe you want to put the word blank and you'll be filled up with blanks. If you have a series of invoices and a due date and you want to create an expiry alert spreadsheet, this is how you do it. First, you're going to create today's date and you're going to use a formula rather than hard coding it. If you enter today, open and close parenthesis, this will give you today's date. Then to calculate days left, you say equal due date minus today's date, and you're going to press F4 to make it into a fixed reference so they can apply the same formula to the rest of the rows like that. So they're using the same reference point for today to calculate the days left. Okay, so you got today's date and you got days left. Next, you want to show the status, whether it's going to be expired and warning. So I've fixed my expired as 0 days and warning would be 20 days left, right? So the formula for that would be if open parenthesis this days is less than, I'm going to show an expired status, this guy here, and I'm going to press F4 to make it a fixed cell address here. So when you go comma and you're going to type the word expired. So if this C4 here, C6 is less than B2, which is 0, it's going to show expired for this status here. But if it's not expired, I'm going to put a nested if condition. If this number is less than or equal to warning days, I'm going to press F4 to make it into a fixed cell reference. I'm going to say that to be warning. And then all else condition will be on time, which means they are still good. And close parenthesis twice for first one and second one here, and hit enter. And obviously this will show expired because it's minus 24 days. It's well below 0. And then this one here, let me apply the same formula to all the other rows by double clicking on this square box here. And let's look at this again one more time. You can see this is 1, which is between 0 and 20. So it falls under warning, that's why it's warning. So the formula is working right now. So now another thing I want to do was to follow the same color schema as this guy here. So expired, I want to show red. This is how you do it. You select the whole data set for the status and you go conditional formatting here. And in here, you're going to select highlight cell rules, text that contains, and a light gray with dark text is going to be expired. It says the cell containing expired. We'll show that. And then you can see everything starting to color, but the warning has not been specified. You go back in here, highlight cells, text that contains the word warning. And it's going to be yellow filled with dark yellow text. And you can see the warning is coming in, but on time we haven't assigned yet. Go conditional formatting again, and then go highlight cell rules, text that contains the word on time. And this time around we're going to say green filled with dark green text, and you can see all the color coding has been done correctly. On my YouTube channel, I regularly share Excel tips and tricks every day. Make sure you subscribe to stay updated.